Hello YouTube viewers, and welcome to my channel if you're a new viewer or if you're just stopping by. This channel is all about gem cutting and mostly faceting gemstones. And thanks for stopping by if you're new, and look through all my videos. And I've also partnered with some other gem cutters, and their channels are listed in the description below. Take a look at their videos also, and also look at my playlist that I have. I've got a lot of playlists from other YouTube channels with a lot of information. Okay, this is a material I'm going to cut this time. It's a piece of synthetic rough, and I believe it might be called lazerlite. I believe this hardness would be about 6.5, maybe 7. It might also be a nanositol type of synthetic quartz. The dealer I bought it from wasn't really too clear on what it was. He didn't really understand exactly what he was selling. I guess he had so much different kinds, he gets kind of mixed up on what he had. Anyway, bought that at a local show about a year ago around here in state of Florida, United States. So what I want to cut today is these, I just cut this not long ago, and it's a hexagonal brilliant by faceted Jim Perkins. But I liked it, and I cut it in clear quartz for a competition, and I would like to do something in colored material. So that's what I've chosen, this blue. I like to cut blue material, but you got synthetic corundum, and you've got your natural materials, which are quite pricey. Owlite, sapphire, of course. You have blue sapphire, and it's priced way up there in the price range, out of my price range. You can get blue tourmaline and dicolite, but once again, this is very expensive. So for what I want to do, I have to go to synthetic material like this. So here we are, we'll cut this, we'll get started, and I'm going to use the wax, faceter's wax, to dop. Dopping is how I attach the stone to one of these brass little sticks that goes into my machine. Of course, I'm not going to use this one, this is too small, but I'll get the proper one and it will attach with the hot wax. I have to heat this wax up using my little alcohol lamp here, and heat it, and have to heat the stone, the dop stick, the wax all together in just the right amounts. And I'll have to choose the correct dop stick here in a second. Alright, I'll get started. Okay, we've got to light the lamp. Burning. Got to heat our stone up. Also going to heat the dop stick, and this one's got some wax on it already. Okay, we've got our stone warmed up, and we've got to heat our wax. got to heat both of them together. I'm going to add a little more wax to the stone. We'll heat it again, melt the wax. And here we have a properly dopped stone with using wax, hot wax. Okay, we've got our stone and dot mounted in the machine, and I'm starting with a 600 Chrisitanite nickel bonded diamond lap. And our first cutting job is to cut the stone to a center point, and that is where we base our entire stone off of. If you don't get the center point cut correctly, you're going to have trouble through the whole entire stone, and you won't have correct meets. So that's our first step over here. Cut to a center point at 43 degrees. And this is our culate tip, our center point we're going to be cutting to. Okay, we'll get started here. When you can, always hold your stone and move your stone back and forth. Sometimes I use the little handle here, but it's best to support your stone. If you have a tiny stone, you can't always do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm continuing to make the cuts and get the correct center point. I've been working my way around the stone, and I'm doing the final touches on it right now. And I'm going to show you how I use the depth of cut meter, the electronic meter I've got hooked up. So right now, the stone is up off the stop, the hard stop. When I go down and let it rest, see my needle swings all the way to the right. When I lift, needle swings to the left. So I'm going to use the needle alone to make the next cut at my 30 index. Let's see if I can get everything in here. You can watch the needle. I'm not even putting pressure on the stone, actually, it's cutting itself. You can hear the tick, tick, tick. If you want to cut by ear, you would go by the sound. Every tick is a tiny bit of material being cut from the stone. It'll make it all the way to my stopping point there if I leave it alone, but I'm going to help it along by just giving it a little bit of pressure, not much. Okay, that's how that's done. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing again and show you how it goes, and I'm going to just let go again of the stone. You can watch the cutting action again. That's just the weight of the quill in the handle bearing down on the stone. And I'm not touching it at all. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure. Okay, that's my end point right there. Okay, I've made all the meet points, and since I used the meter, they're not exact. They don't meet perfectly. Nothing takes the place of your eye. So I will put on a 3000 grit lightning lap resin bonded disc, and I will pre-polish with that and bring the meats in as close as I can. And then I will follow with the cerium oxide lightning lap and polish this stone before I move on to any of the other facets. I'm not going to cut the girdle yet, or until I polish these mains. This is the 3000 grit lightning lap resin lap I'm using. So I went from 600 grit to 3000 pre-polish here. Okay, the pre-polishing is done with the 3000 grit lap. Next, I'll use a cerium oxide lap and do the final polishing. I'm not having any problems. It's coming, the polish and pre-polish is coming up quickly. I don't have any unexplained scratching or any problems at all with this material. This is the final polishing of that first set of facets. I'm using the cerium oxide lightning lap. Getting a really good polish with this lap today. Okay, my machine is set at 90 degrees. I'm cutting the girdle facets. Got my machine turning counterclockwise. Try to eliminate some of the splash over the edge here, since I've got my splash bowl pinned down so I can cut the girdle. I'm using the sponges here to help contain some of the water splash. looking really good. We got the shape all, the girdle shape all done here. Okay, I've got my girdle width the way thickness that I want here. This thickness is tall enough for my crown height. So I'm stopping right here and I'm going to move to the 3000 pre-polished lap again and pre-polish all of these girdle facets. Okay, I'm final polishing the girdle facets. I used the same disc I did when I started on the pavilion. So I've pre-polished with the 3000 and I've gone straight to the cerium oxide lightning lap. I'm cutting the final facet on the crown, and because these facets are only 1 degree difference from the first set of facets on the crown, on the pavilion here, I can get by with cutting them on the 3000 lap. I'm doing the final polishing now on the pavilion here, and it's polishing so quickly I'm just making one slow pass and that's pretty much done with it. The meat comes out just right. I don't want to go more than one pass here. Now I'll check my progress. I'm going to do one more pass. The polishing is all finished on the pavilion. It's looking really good. And I'll move on to the dop transfer next. I'm going to transfer the stone to a cone dop. I'm using 5-minute epoxy glue. So I'll leave that to set overnight, and tomorrow I'll separate the stone in the flat dop I started with, and I'll start cutting the crown. I'm starting to cut the crown facets using the same lap combinations I used on the pavilion. Okay, I've cut all of crown 1 facets. That all went good, and they cut very quickly too with this material, using a 600 lap. Alright, I decided that my girdle thickness is too thick. So I've started cutting this same facet, this C1, down some more so I can have a thinner girdle right here. I'm still going to go a little bit more. I'm also changed to a 3000 plated lap topper for this. So I'll continue all the way around the entire stone and get these to the right depth. Okay, I've started using an 8,000 grit lightning lap for these C1 facets. I'm pre-polishing these. Doesn't take much. Just a short little sweep across the lap. It's really looking good too. Here I've done the final polishing on the crown 1 facets. So I will move on to step 2, which is the crown 2 facets. This is nice material to work with. It's a synthetic quartz, I believe. It's actually, I'm calling it a synthetic quartz, but it's a little softer than quartz, so it's one of the man-made materials that are made to like take the place of quartz, I guess you would say. So it's possibly 6.5 on the MOHS scale hardness. There's different names for this stuff. Lazerlite, nanositol. There's several other names for stuff like this. Okay, for the next step, the crown 2 facets, I put on the 1200 grit lightning lap. And I've already started cutting that facet. You can see it coming down from the top there. It's going to extend all the way to the girdle. There we are. It's a good shot of it right there. And I'll bring that point, the bottom of that facet I'm cutting, all the way to the girdle and stop. And I have 6 of those to cut at 34 degrees. Here you can see I'm getting close to my meet point there at the girdle, but I'm going to stop short because I still have to pre-polish with the 8000 lap and then final polish with the cerium oxide lap. I don't want to bring that all the way down and meet and touch the girdle facet now. I've got to leave it short. And I'm going to go around and do the other 5 facets in the same way. Okay, I've just finished polishing the C2 facets, and we'll move on to the star facets, the C3 next. I put the 3000 plated lap on. I'm cutting with that, and I'm starting at the top, bringing that facet down. I have 8 of those to do. Okay, I'm getting there. I've gone around and cut all of those star facets, but they need to come down a little bit more. I'm going to leave room again for the 8000 pre-polish and then final polish. I'm not going to bring them to a complete meet at this point. Okay, I just finished a polish on the star facets, so all's left is cutting and polishing the crown. It polished very nicely using the cerium oxide lap. Okay, I'm ready to cut the table. I'm going to set my digital angle stop here at 45 degrees. So that's now set. Always check your cheater to make sure it's zeroed out. I'm on 96 index. I'm going to put on my 45-degree table adapter here. You want that straight, you don't want it in crooked or at an angle. So I'm going to use my calibration block here and put it on the lap. Slide on my adapter. Now this is going to be sitting right on the calibration block. Once I lowered, let's go back, I bumped it a little bit. Okay, now I'm touching my calibration block. Since you can see my reading went up to 0.4512, so I'm going to lift it. That's close enough. This is flat. And I'm ready to tighten the screws here. The 2 Allen screws. So now I'm calibrated and ready to cut the table at 45 degrees, for which would be 90. Lower it just a little bit. Okay, I finished the stone, and I'll soak it in some acetone and get it to release from the dopstick and clean it up. The stone is 11 millimeters in diameter. I'll weigh and measure the stone. .5 carats. Okay, here's our stone finished.